Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. And thank you for letting me not put on makeup. So, I'm doing tonight's remote, and I decided to do a couple of things. This is my remote viewing map. I have Trump in the center of the map, and I used heart-centered remote viewing to align myself energetically with each of the individuals in the map, and then try to see things from their perspective, and then try to see things from Trump's perspective in relationship to them, to give you as much information as I can about the current situation. So let's go. As you know, the first thing I wanted to talk about is that Mar-a-Lago was flooded. There was a flood. I believe it either happened this morning, was it last night? I don't know when it was, but it appears that it was on the northeast side. Some offices, his offices, some electronics were there. Evidently, the flood may have damaged some of the electronics. There's a theory that it could have been a booby trap or sabotaged in some way. This is very similar to what we've seen with some of the other people that have been arrested by the feds, or people who have had their personal effects confiscated. Like Gao Wei, who was the business associate of Steve Bannon, who blew up his offices on the 17th floor of an apartment building in New York. And so here we have a similar situation, but the sabotage in this case appears to be a flood. So I went into the energy, and they are going to be able to retrieve a lot. The flood isn't going to stop them from being able to retrieve hard drives and information. The main point, though, here is that it happened because when you go into this remote, it feels like the feds should be at Mar-a-Lago within 48 to 72 hours. So that means that there was some kind of a heads up from given to Trump that they were likely going to go in possibly and seize computer disk, etc. So what happened at that point was that that's what caused them to begin attempting to destroy documents. As I had mentioned on Sunday, we went into the energy of the Knight of Swords, and people had asked me to clarify police raid. Some people had said, well, isn't it more that the police are just doing their jobs? Why call it a raid? Well, the card that was in future placement for Trump was the Knight of Swords. And when we look at that card, it's a very aggressive and a violent kind of energy. The fact that this individual may have intentionally chosen to destroy or harm his own personal offices, computers, etc., that's interesting to me. That's very, very interesting. Okay, so we have Trump Trump also was attempting to reach out to Merrick Garland, evidently trying to stop whatever, I guess, the indictment that was coming. So here again, I'm going to show it to you. You guys can go ahead and maybe take a picture of it, I don't know, so that you can look at it while I'm talking, because I need to look at it too. Got it? Okay, took a picture? All right. Okay, so now I can go back. All right, so first person, we'll go from like least important to the most important. Being Eric Trump, I felt like he says, "You tore the heart of my father to pieces." He's like in an Italian opera or something. This guy wants to be Italian. "You tore the heart of my father to pieces. He's a great man, and you tore him to pieces, the damn Dems. That's what I heard myself say. That's coming from Junior. I think as Eric, I felt just shocked. I didn't really get any feedback. The weird thing is, I feel like Melania is gone. I just saw her back out the door. I feel this is such a weird story. The documents are gone. Somebody that was close to him, he doesn't know who, he genuinely doesn't know where some of this stuff went to. It's true. He really doesn't know. And he's shaking his head like, who could have stolen from me? Or he could just be a senile guy that misplaced it, and that's the problem. So now the feds have to go in. You see, they have to go in and they have to scour through everything and try and figure out how. It's just a mess. Attempted to speak with Merrick Garland. He was refused. Was referred back to Jack Smith. There was a meeting today. They're talking about him being arrested, possibly reconsidering. The energy of this meeting is an attempt, a last minute stay of reconsider. So that's what it feels like energetically. It's right before the hangman comes, right? And we had seen the hangman coming for Trump. The hangman comes. And in this case, the hangman is Jack Smith. So you go to the judge, you go to Merrick Garland to stop this thing. No. Then you go to, he refers it back to Jack Smith. They go to Jack Smith. Jack Smith says no. Jack Smith says 48 to 72 hours, etc., etc. When I was asked, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Thursday, I had gotten, approximately 10 days. They're saying now it could be Thursday, between Thursday and Saturday it's possible, in which case it's interesting that flooding happened because, again, based on the remotes, he genuinely can't find it. The flood was intentional, so he knows that they're going in again. I tried to go back in time to try and find out a little bit more about his relationship with Rudy Giuliani. And that was kind of interesting because Rudy Giuliani had a long history with the FBI and he was well respected. I put myself in the shoes of Ivanka Trump briefly, and I asked her about that, and she said, why wouldn't we trust his relationship with Rudy Giuliani? Why would we have suspected anything? The guy was the mayor. He was our mayor. He was the mayor of New York City, so she was flabbergasted, that we should have known that this guy was dragging Trump into this thing. So what basically Ivanka Trump is saying is that it is Rudy Giuliani. That's what the Kushners are saying. That's what Ivanka Trump is saying, that Giuliani seduced Trump into this dark world, introduced him to the Russian mob, got him involved with this stuff. When I went into the FBI, which had been compromised in New York, here's what I got back. No, we have had a relationship with Trump for a while. The FBI said that they had had a relationship with Trump for quite a while, and we were willing to make allowances for his bad behavior because he has worked for us in the past as an informant. In plainer words, how Trump would work as an informant is every time he would find dirt, particularly on people he didn't like, he would go over with Giuliani and he would dump it over at the FBI. So he became buddy-buddy with the FBI. Giuliani was working with the FBI. You see the situation. And so the FBI became his own personal opportunity to seek vengeance against certain people. I've got dirt on so-and-so, or the AG has kinky ideas, or et cetera, et cetera. The person that who was collecting that dirt and was paying for the dirt him and the National Enquirer, and then feeding it to the feds, etc. That whole thing is connected with Giuliani and the feds, and that also means using the feds to leverage against your enemies. So that was at the point at which Giuliani also was connecting with giving information to his clients who were part of the Russian mob, who wanted information about federal investigations. So you had also Little Russia. You had Little Russia in New York. And so what Giuliani was doing is he was becoming a go-between. Maybe he had a couple of girlfriends from Eastern Europe. He was trying to help out their uncle. Who knows how this got started, but was trying to help people out, right? So he started helping out the Russian mob. Now this is interesting because when you go deeper into this energy, you realize that you got a little bit of a turf war with real estate. And there you have Trump Tower, you've got Trump real estate, and you have these various different mafia or criminals fighting for turf space. So you have the Russian mafia and the Israeli mafia that are doing a little business, right? And sometimes you go back and forth. You've got the Italian mafia, you've got other mafias, and they're buying up real estate, and they're also buying up influence. And so that was basically how Trump incurred favors from the feds and was able to avoid arrest by the feds. It was by collecting dirt and giving it to the feds, basically against people he didn't like. All right, so that takes you all to the present. I know you're all going to want to talk a lot about this one. And I'd also like my students to go in, and the more advanced students, I've asked you to, if you're a new student, you don't have to do this, walk the grid if you could. If you're a new student, go ahead and try it. And new students, put yourself in the shoes of what it is to be Donald Trump right now. What do you think you're going to be doing? I would say based on this remote, they're probably going to coordinate his surrender, and based on the energy of the feds at this time, they have taken away his ability to leave the country. All right, thank you everyone for watching. Be sure and share, like, subscribe if you like these kinds of weird videos. If you're interested in remote viewing, using heart-centered remote viewing, then documenting it, seeing if it works. If you're interested in that sort of thing, please consider subscribing to this channel. All right, be well everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.